Hey, badass business owners, welcome to another episode of the Local Small Business Coach Podcast, where each episode we work on getting you to $100,000 in take-home pay. So if you're all ready to boost your profits, increase your sales, improve your processes, and develop stronger teams so you can stop living job to job, then let's dive in. Hey, badass business owners. Welcome back to another episode of the Local Small Business Coach Podcast. How's everybody going? It has been a wet one here in Arizona. Matter of fact, as I'm recording this, we had another storm last night and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm done. It was so bad that last week, for a couple of days, I couldn't even get away from my house. I couldn't get out. My street was flooded. There's this wash that runs by it, and it kind of flooded over all this mud, blocked off the street. Had to wait for the back roads to dry up. Oh, it was a nightmare. But that's nothing. It made me appreciate those of you that go through actual hurricanes and flooding and stuff like that. And I'll take the pains of Arizona any day over what you guys have to go through. It really made me appreciate it that much more. So I really appreciate it, especially those of you that have businesses around helping folks who run into those types of problems and who really come together to help their communities in times of needs. What was interesting is out here, I live on acreage. So what happens is a lot of the local folks, hop on their tractors and everything and start trying to help move the mud out of the way so that people can start getting to work and going where they need to go. Some business owners kind of chip in and whatnot. And to me, and I know a lot of you guys are involved in that kind of stuff, and I just want to give you a good thumbs up and thank you from your community because I think that's awesome. I also want to welcome all of the new folks that all of a sudden have been subscribing. We've been seeing a jump in listenership, and I welcome you to the show. For those of you that are new and coming aboard, just know that one of my missions, my goals every single week is to pull out a little piece of your business and just kind of dive into it. And hopefully by the end of the episode, you have some ideas and a little nugget. If you walk away with just a little nugget that helps you with your business and helps you increase those profits of yours, boost your sales, improve your processes, develop stronger teams, then I've done my job for the week. I know your time is precious, and I appreciate the fact that you guys take me around with you wherever you go so that you can listen. And I think that's amazing. So welcome. Today we're going to talk about profit. If you recall we had the 3 episodes back to back that I talked about increasing your sales, and I had promised you that we would do a quick one on profit as well. I took that little time out last week to talk about our attitude and our mindset because I felt that was needed, but I want to get right back onto the program. So today, I'm going to take out a little slice of profit, and we're going to talk about how you can increase your profit starting tomorrow by doing a couple little things. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I do want to pull out our quote of the week, and our quote is going to be this: profit is not the legitimate purposes of business. The legitimate purpose of business is to provide a product or service that people need and do it so well that it's profitable. And that's by James Rouse. And what I love about that is if you go into business just for the money, and that's what you think about all the time is the bottom line, the profit and everything else, you're actually kind of, you want to think about the profit because profits is more important than the sales, which we've talked about in the past. But at the end of the day, you need to take care of the people. You need to take care of the customer. And that's why it's talking about, it's really about providing the right product and the right service. And this way, by taking care of that person, your client, your end user, then the goal is that's going to turn around and help you make money. It reminds me of another quote that I'm going to totally mangle that's out there. But basically, it talks about that if you help enough people and help other people achieve what it is that they're trying to do, it's going to come back at you. And this really ties into that same thing. By you going out there and providing the service, this product that really helps your end user, you're going to turn around and you're going to benefit from that. And that's where by us teaching you how to be better businessmen and women, guess what? The profits will be there. So don't put the profits ahead of taking care of the people. Take care of the people, and guess what? The profits are going to happen. Now, that doesn't mean be stupid. Because unfortunately, sometimes we do stupid things where, we're so hell-bent on helping a customer that we forget that we're also still in business. So there is a balance, and I don't want you to lose that. But at the same time, know that you need those people to be able to make that profit. Hopefully that's making sense and it's coming out right. But I just know that sometimes we forget, we get so laser focused that we forget that, the reason that we're doing this is to help people. And so why can't we do both? Why can't we help people and have a very profitable business? That's what our goal is. All right. Now let's talk about some profit since we're on that topic. Now there's different types of profit. Obviously, there's things that you can do today that are going to help your profit in the long term. Things that you're going to start a ball in motion and it's going to continue to grow your profits. All right. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into our profit topic for the day. There's two different things that we could talk about when it comes to profit and increasing your profits. One box is things that are going to take longer term to be able to get profits to turn the corner and to get stronger. And then there's some quick wins that you could do that are going to give you an instant boost in your profit right away. And what I thought I would do is I've jotted down about 17, there's probably more, but 17 categories, if you will, that I think that will help you start turning a better profit starting tomorrow if you do it. Now, this doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to turn the switch and tomorrow it's going to jump sky high. That's not what it's about. Some of these items are only going to give you $10, $20. Some will give you thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars. But the key is you always want to continue to fine tune your business. And that's what we're going to kind of talk about. What are some little things that you can start doing that are going to help you start increasing that profit? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? Is you want to make more money. The more money you have, the more financially secure you are, the more you can do for your family, the more you can provide, and more you can enjoy, and the bigger you can grow your business. So ultimately, profits are what win. So with that, let's kind of jump into some of these quick wins that you can start making more money. Now, the first thing, obviously, is the first thing that pops into everybody's mind, which is to raise your prices. Now, be cautious on this one. Yes, it will give you a quick win. If you raise your prices, tomorrow you're going to start making more money. Because if you sell something right now for $1 and it costs you 50 cents, you're making 50 cents. If you turn around tomorrow and start selling it for $1.20, but you still only have the same 50 cents, guess what? You're making 70 cents. So yes, you're going to improve your profits by increasing your prices. But here's the thing. There are pros and cons to doing this, and I definitely do not think this is the very first thing you should jump to. But I do think it's something that you need to look at to see if there's some easy wins that you can do. All right. Obviously, the pro is that you're going to have this bump right away. The con is you can catch your customers completely by surprise. And if you don't do it the right way, you could hurt your sales and hurt your profits, because if you start selling less because of the price change, that may not always be the best thing. Now, there's a whole section and I believe there's an episode in the past, and I'm sure I'll talk about in the future, of when's the right time to raise your prices. It's too much to put into this quick episode, but do be careful. You must have excellent customer service and quality to raise your prices to back it up. So the only time you really want to raise your prices is if it's your quality is so and your service is so above everybody else that you can go ahead and charge more. And then the second one is if your product costs have gone up and you have to pass it along to the customers. And that's standard in most businesses. And in most cases, if you're going to raise your prices, you want to try to give your customers a heads up that it's coming. Now, that depends upon if you have regular customers that you service once a month, yeah, you want to give them, 30, 60, 90 days notice that you're going to raise the prices. If you have a brick and mortar store, it's not as big of an issue, as much as, it depends if it's something that people do on a regular basis, you can put a note up saying, hey, due to some cost changes or whatever, we're going to change the prices. But once again, that's a topic for a whole nother episode. But for now, you can look at your prices and say, hey, can you tweak one here or there? Are there a couple that you can tweak? And if so, that's going to go ahead and give you that immediate boost in your profits. So I want you to look at it, look at your items, look at your products, your services, and everything else. And if there's a couple that you can tweak just a little bit, then that's going to help you get a little bit more profit right away. Now, the second thing that you're going to do is I want you to grab your profit and loss, your P&L. And on this one, what you're going to do is you're going to look for some things that you can make immediate action on. And by taking immediate action, it's going to go ahead and start increasing your profits. Now, these are the ones that sometimes you're going to get, $1 here or there, $10, $100, whatever. But you want to still do them. Now, for example, one of the items is, are there some reoccurring bills that you pay that you no longer use or no longer need. Typical of this is, let's just say you subscribe to some industry magazine that you never have time to read. So they're just piled up on your desk anyways. Why not cancel that subscription? If it's costing you $20 a month or whatever the case may be to get it, and you're not even reading the magazines, then you need to cancel that. You need to go ahead and put that money back into the company. That's a classic thing. Or maybe you join some online something or another that you never use, never go into. Go ahead and get that canceled as well. So look for anything that you've got going on that's a reoccurring thing that you could go ahead and cut. I want you to look at your gas bottom line when it comes to the gas and the amount of money that you're spending. We're going to talk about this one and a couple other ones coming up here in a second, but that's another great area that you can go to. Look at any fixed costs. Things are the same thing every other month. So what happens is when we have fixed costs is we tend to put them out of sight, out of mind because we feel like we can't touch them. It's going to be what it is. Look at them. Are there some bills that you can go ahead and change? For example, there are people that are still paying for a landline for their business. Do you need a landline for your business? In some cases, you don't need it, or you can get it for much cheaper than what you have right now. So just look at the bills, just go back and look at them. And is there a way to go ahead and get them dropped? Even if it's just a little bit, it's fantastic. Do you really need to have the highest internet plan for your business? In most cases, personally, we all want that. Don't get me wrong, but do you really need it? If you give internet to your customers and it's part of them coming into your business, then definitely don't cut that. But look at each of those fixed costs, see if there's anywhere that you can go ahead and maybe renegotiate or get rid of it altogether. Just because it's been there forever and it's just been a staple doesn't mean it needs to stay. So I want you to look at that. Do you have any leases and things that you could go ahead and renegotiate? In some cases, it could be as big as renegotiating your lease, and depending upon your market, you might be able to do that. That's a little bit more difficult. But there's other types of leases that some of you guys have, whether it's with your bank on some equipment. It could be some equipment that you have that you've been leasing from somewhere. Can you renegotiate that? Or better yet, if you have some equipment that you're on leasing, is there a way that you could go ahead and get those paid off? Sometimes when we pay off stuff, we actually end up increasing our profits. Maybe not at that very moment, but once you pay off debt, what happens is that money starts going to your bottom line and to your profits, and it's a one-time hit. Get it over with. Same thing if you've got like credit cards and stuff like that have interest racking up, if you can get those things paid off. So just look at that. That is one area. So where you take a temporarily hit to the profit, long term, you're actually increasing your profits. Another area that people sometimes mistake for on the P&L is repairs and maintenance. Now, this might sound counterintuitive to say, wow, I've got something deferred maintenance that I need to deal with. If I deal with it, it's going to hurt my profits. But here's the thing. Sometimes we defer maintenance so long that we actually hurt the equipment and it never is the same ever again. Whereas if we fixed it right the first time, it would not have continued on to be a problem. When I had my ice cream shop, when I took it over, the previous owner never had so much deferred maintenance on all of the refrigerators and freezers. I had 7 of them. That I spent so much money staying on top of those things because he never fixed them right. And what I started to do is I started to go to each one and fix it 100% right. And then that way, that piece of equipment did not have long-term problems where I was having someone to come out and fix it every single month. So sometimes by taking the hit right now, you actually long-term get some profit. Is that necessarily a quick win tomorrow? No, but it's something worth talking about, which is why, and it's my show, so that's why I talked about it anyways. All right. There's a lot of hidden gems in profit inside your profit and loss. You just need to get in there. Now, earlier I had mentioned gas. So let's talk about some things that tie to gas, because I kind of put gas in the same category as time and lost sales, which means lost sales mean lost profit. And this is that. One is your scheduling. All right. How much time are you spending crisscrossing jobs? For example, maybe you go to the north end of town, then you all of a sudden go to the south end of town, and then later in the day, you're back on the north end of town. That's just a waste of a lot of gas, a lot of time. And obviously, because you're spending so much time on gas, you're losing profit, you're losing time, which means there's probably another job you could have squeezed in. If you would have started north, did another one, and then another one, and another one, you could have squeezed in that 4th job to be able to get done if everything was organized through across the day. And this is actually a big one. This is one that I'm actually surprised how many people do this. And I think sometimes it's because we ask people when they would like to have it done versus trying to say, hey, these are the slots. This is where I'm going. You're seeing it more and more with some companies that actually deliver and do services in different areas. What they'll do is they'll say, hey, we're in your area on Tuesdays and Thursdays. we'll be glad to get you scheduled during that time frame. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm very familiar with it in our town because we are about 30 minutes outside of Phoenix. So what happens is a lot of people will only come to our town on certain days. That way they can do the entire community in that one shot, and they can actually save money versus wasting that 30 minutes in and that 30 minutes back out. So definitely look at crisscross on your traveling. In the way that you're booking jobs and stuff like that. I understand that in the beginning, you're taking everything that you can possibly get. But as you start to season and get better at your business, you can actually start putting more profit in your pocket tomorrow by scheduling better. So I definitely want to see that you guys look at that. And tied to that, the other way that we waste gas, time, lost jobs, lost profit is by not having everything that we need. There's a lot of you guys that show up on the job site only to discover that you forgot something or you left something somewhere else. And now you got to go back to town, or you got to go over to Home Depot, or you got to go somewhere else to get something apart, or whatever the case may be. And every time that you do that, that's lost time. And once again, more gas that you have to spend and everything else. Now, is it going to be perfect all the time? No. But think about how many times you waste because you forgot something, you had a senior moment, whatever the case may be, or you weren't properly prepared for that job. Now, why weren't you properly prepared? Keep peeling that onion back. Was it because you didn't ask the right questions to begin with? In which case, how can you prevent it the next time? But that is another thing that I really want to challenge you to look at is if you're getting frustrated every single day, because of all the crisscrossing that you have to do, because of all of having to go back and forth, you're forgetting things. I was talking to someone the other day, and he had a simple job to go to, and it was his fourth trip to the house before he ever got to diagnose the problem because he kept forgetting something that he needed to be able to do it. Now, it was just normal. He was running around. He had so much going on and everything else. But if you think about it, if you were to take the 3 wasted trips back and forth before he actually got to do the job, how much time and energy could he have saved had he not been doing that? So just look at that. That is one way that people are wasting money. Another area that I want you to look at is cutting waste. All right. Waste cost is bottom line profit. Anytime that you have to throw away stuff because you screwed it up, or one of your employees made a mistake, you bought too much and then you can't return it because you've already chopped into it, or whatever the case may be, that's profit you're throwing out the door. So definitely right away start working on your waste. And by the way, waste can also be if you have any type of food business, or as other businesses have the same problem. I call it the over scooping theory. When I had my ice cream shop, there was a certain amount that the people were supposed to put into a typical cone. And when they would over scoop, they would give them too much product. And when you put in too much product into something that normally comes a certain way, that is product costs, which then hurt your margin because your product costs come off your bottom line margin. So I call it the over scooping theory, but we see it all the time, and people overdo their plates. They overdo stuff. You see it at gas stations all the time. For example, if you ever go watch people when they get their sodas, just stop and watch. How many times are people pouring soda down the drain because they taste it, throw it down the drain, they fill it up, decide that's not what they want, they throw it down. Oh, it drives me nuts because there's just so much. Granted, it's a very high margin product, which is built into their product model, but the business person inside of me just sees it as waste being thrown away. So look at your business and where are you causing waste? Where are your employees causing waste? Because anything that you can do that cuts into waste is bottom line profit. This is a huge one. And in this one, sometimes you have the temporary fix to get it stopped right away, but then long term, I really say put this on your process that needs to be looked at, because a lot of times we have waste due to process and training and stuff like that. But waste is a huge impact on your bottom line. So definitely star that one and make sure that you're looking at waste, which ties into doing jobs twice. How many times have you done something and you're in a hurry to get to the next job, and maybe you cut a corner, maybe you didn't quite do it the way you needed to, and all of a sudden you have to go back out and fix it or do it better. This is one thing that if you're finding yourself into this, you need to slow down and do it right. Part of the reason that you're running around is because you are having to do jobs twice. And if you didn't have to do jobs twice, you wouldn't feel that same pressure, and it would stop cutting in, because whenever you have to do things twice, not only, once again, your loss of gas, loss of time, loss of jobs that you could be doing, but at the end of the day, sometimes that costs even more because now you've got labor on top of it and the additional product that you have to add to it. That margin continues to get smaller. And in some cases, you start losing money because you had to do a job twice. Now, whether it's you, it's one of the employees, whatever the case may be, you really need to, if you find yourself having way too many jobs that you're having to do multiple times, then you need to get on this one right away. It will definitely start adding profit tomorrow by you getting that under control. Another area that I want you to look at is eliminating products or services that you don't need or that cost you money. We all have some products or services that in the end, we wonder why we even do them, because they end up costing you money. Now, if they lead to more jobs, to bigger jobs, then I can understand you keeping that as a job. But if for the most part, you have a product or service that just ends up making very little money, ask yourself, do you really even need to do it? Because unless it leads to something bigger, it doesn't make any sense for you to continue to do it. And the minute you take that out, that's going to allow you to sell more of other things, and it's going to allow you to do more jobs. It's going to allow you to provide more services, which in turn, because they're at a better margin, you're going to be able to make more profit right away. So make sure you look at eliminating some products, some services that either you don't need or that end up costing you money, because unless they lead to something bigger, just like I said, there's no need for you to have them. All right, this one's going to hurt a little bit. I want you to eliminate some dead weight. You know what? Some of you guys have people that help you out or on your team that are unproductive. Now, I am 100%, if you know me, I am 100% pro-employee. It is our responsibility to make sure we hire the best, we train the best, and we continue to develop the best. I put the ownership of our people's performance on ourselves. If you have poured everything possible into this employee to make sure that they can be successful, and yet they are not being productive, you constantly have to be over their shoulder. They're just not getting it. They're late all the time. They're bad for morale. They're hurting things. You need to cut weight. You need to get the documentation in place, and you need to get rid of them. I understand that you need people, that your work's going to get harder, but isn't your job hard enough right now with you having to carry this dead weight? So you need to look at the people. And if you want to know if you're making the right decision, feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my HR hat on and I'll help you through that process. But I'm telling you right now, in most cases, if you've got dead weight and you know it and you've just been holding on, you need to let it go. I'm telling you, your profits are going to go up. I know you'll feel shorthanded, but your profits will go up because they're costing you more money. Which, by the way, while I'm thinking about it, another way that you can make more money is make sure that, let's just say you have two teams, or two crews, if you will. You know, maybe you're a landscaper or whatever, and you've got two different crews going on. You know what? If you've got certain jobs that you know are going to take some finesse to be able to get done, you know, make sure you're funneling those jobs that really have the potential to earn you good income to your best crews, because your best crews are going to do them right. They're not going to have the waste. They're not going to have the productivity problems. They're not going to be wasting money. They're not going to be backtracking. They're not going to do everything else. So make sure that while you're working both crews and you're developing both crews, that when you have critical jobs that have the ability to make you a lot of money, that you funnel those jobs to those people. Now, if you're funneling everything, I don't want you to start performance punishment, which is because they are really good that they get punished because they keep getting everything. It means you really need to spend time to develop the other crew. But in the meantime, don't be foolish. Make sure that those jobs that need to go to the right crews, if you will, that's going to actually increase, because the time to experiment and help is not to hurt your profitability by giving one of your weaker crews or weaker employees a job that's critical for your bottom line profits. So you kind of earn it and get there. So just keep developing them, but at the same time, be smart on who you give it to. All right. This one here we kind of talked about a little bit, which was to pay off debt, eliminate interest payments. I'm a big believer in being as debt-free as humanly possible. Every time that you carry debt, you've got some interest going on, and that is hurting your bottom line profit. It's hurting your bottom line profit on two ways. One is you have the interest that is continuing to accrue, but second, you have that payment that goes out for that debt. So for example, let's just say you have a $100 credit card payment. Not only are you making the $100 credit card payment, you're probably getting an additional, say, $15 a month in interest. So by getting rid of that debt, guess what? Your bottom line profits actually go up the $115, because not only do you not have that $100 payment that you have to make, but you also get that interest back every single month as well. So get some debt paid off. If you've got the money, get it paid off, and you'll start seeing that you'll make that money back up really quickly because you're not having it go out. If you don't need it, don't get it. Don't buy it. A lot of people spend money on things they don't need. We do that personally. We also do that within our business. We see some shiny new gadget we just think we have to have. But at the end of the day, I want you to have some restraint. Just because it's shiny and it's new and it's exciting, and you can think of every reason under the sun as to why you need it, That does not mean you need to do it. You need to wait 24, 48 hours before you do anything. I used to go round and round with a friend of mine in her business because she would always come in and tell me about this awesome thing that she could get to help her business. And she's right. It was an awesome thing and it would help her business. But she was nowhere near as efficient as she needed to be able to maximize that product or to carry that product. Because if it just sits there and it gathers dust, it was a waste of money. You just threw profit out the door. Because until your business is ready for it, or you can use it on a regular need, it doesn't, you shouldn't get it. Unless it's going to impact your business right away with more sales and more profits, you need to not do it. You need to weigh it all out. You need to do a cost analysis to make sure it's right. So one of the things I want to do is don't buy it if you do not need it. All right. The next one's going to take a little bit of thinking. And one of the things I've been telling you guys is you need to know your product margins. You need to know what you make on all of your products and services. One of the ways that you can start making more money tomorrow is to make sure you're maximizing the sales of the items that you know you have good margin on. If you have item A and you make 50 cents on every dollar, and you have item B that you make 60 cents on every dollar, is there a way that you can start increasing your sales on the ones on item B that you make 60 cents versus the 50 cents? Now, if it's completely some small random thing, you know what? At the end of the day, if you go from 5 to 10, yes, you created more margin. But if on item A, even though you only make 50 cents, but you sell hundreds of them and now you can sell 200 of them, believe it or not, you're going to make more margin by going with you're going to make more profit, by going with the lower margin one, just because of the fact of volume. So I want you to look at the whole scenario. I want you to look at what the sales you can possibly generate and the margin. And can you play with that and see if you can create more margin by selling more of something? But if you have something that if all fields being equal and all of a sudden, you know what, you can take each one are selling about 100 a week, give or take, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge you to say, hey, how can you sell more of the one that makes 60 cents on every dollar versus 50 cents on every dollar? So just kind of look at your mix, and just because that's been the one that you've been selling all along doesn't mean it's the right one for you to do. Sometimes with our good, better, best, we actually make more money on the one as we move up to the next tier. Because a lot of times our good is rock bottom pricing to be able to get them in the door. So by the upsells and by kind of moving up to that next thing where you get a little bit better margin, you're still giving them a product or service that is awesome, exactly what they need, but you make a little bit more money. So I want to challenge you to go after some of those better margin products or services so that you can try to drive more sales and make more profit. But just don't chase silly things, if that makes sense. Just like I said before, just because it makes more money, but if you're not going to get any more sales and it's not going to you can't do the volume with it. I don't want you just to do it for the sake of doing it. So you need to weigh out both sides of it. Hopefully that makes sense. The next one is our employees. Let's go back to employees for a second. Two things come up to mind on this one. Happy employees make more money. When your employees are behind you and they're behind your vision and they're all in, chips cashed, they're all, they want what's right for you in the business. Guess what? You're going to make more money because waste goes down, the apathy, they care more, they take care of better of the products, they take care of better service, your profits just go up. If you can take some of the most profitable companies that are out there, businesses that are out there, stores, units, whatever you want to call it, the most profitable ones, typically I'll guarantee you have really happy employees, people that are engaged with the business and care, because when they care, they tend to make you more money. So look at your crew and ask yourself, are they as happy as they could be? Do you have the best team? Do they appreciate it? Maybe you love every single one of your employees and you just think they're like all that. Then what I would challenge you, do they know that? Do they feel that? And are you doing your best to make them feel good? We do that sometimes as parents, is we work so hard and so many long hours that we forget to take a few minutes and tell them that we love them and whatnot. So your employees are the same way. They just want that same validation. They want to make mom and dad happy. So do your employees know that they make you happy, and are they as happy as they could be? Because I'm telling you, it's going to definitely help your bottom line. So make sure you go do that. Now, tied to that is challenge your employees to help you find more profits. There's nothing wrong with them knowing your business. I did an episode on this in the past. I am all in about people knowing about what goes behind every sale, the profitability and stuff. I tell the story about when I had my basket. You know what? I made a brand new employee. Now, these are kids, usually 16, 17 years old. I'd have them stand on a tile and ask them how much they thought that tile cost me every single month. And it's a 12 by 12 square. And I would tell them it was $40 a month. So guess how much ice cream they had to sell just to pay for that one tile. their eyes would get big. You've got to help teach and educate your people. But challenge them to help you find wasted money. Help them find more profit for you. Now, you don't want them to walk away thinking to only sell high profit things, but you do want them, they're going to tell you going, hey, you know what? I thought about some times that we waste time, we waste money, we waste whatever. Maybe if we did it this way. Some of the best ideas that you'll ever have come out of your company are going to come from your employees, because your employees are belly to belly with your product, belly to belly with your service, and more importantly, they're belly to belly with your customers. And because they're living that every single day, they actually are going to have some great ideas. Is every single one of them going to be a home run? No. But you don't need home runs. You need some singles and some doubles. And guess what? Every single gets you one step closer to the goal line, which means every single gets you more profit. So listen to your employees, challenge them, make it a game. I'm telling you, they want to do this for you, because if they're happy and they love and they're invested in you and your company, they want to do this. They want to give back. And I'm telling you, they are a great opportunity for you to find some profit immediately within your company. All right. The next one that I want to talk about is I want you to fire some people. We already talked about employees. Not that I wanted you to fire employees. I want you to help your employees get to the next level. But if you got dead weight, you need to get rid of them. But I am going to challenge you to fire some clients. Yeah, I'm going to tell you to get rid of some customers or clients. Here's the thing. Almost every single business has a customer that pops to mind as their worst customer. Don't believe me? Somebody popped in your head. There is somebody that you dread calling you. It could be another business owner who uses your services. It could be a customer who just drains you. They're the ones that when your phone rings, you just stare at it. We've all done this where we just stare at the phone because we know there's a headache on the other end of that. Okay. If you have a customer or client that's costing you money, they're costing you time, they're sucking the energy out of you, it's okay to let them go. It's okay to say, you know what, it's been a wonderful run. I just think that, we're no longer a great fit. It's okay to fire a customer or client and have them move on. And sometimes we say, oh, I can't do that because they're a chunk of my business. Listen, if you didn't have them sucking all the energy out of you, you cannot tell me that you cannot go out and find another customer or two to replace them. And by the way, that's another customer or two who doesn't cost you all the energy, time, money, costs, all that stuff. And I'm telling you, you're going to make more profits immediately just by cutting bait with terrible customers and clients. So I want to challenge you. Go ahead and let one of them go. It's okay. All right, last two we're going to hit on home. One is add-on items that will bump your margins. I'm huge on add-on items. That is hard to say, add-on items. Probably because my last name's Adam, so it kind of feels weird in my head. I don't know. But I want you to look at some add-on items. We talked about this in a couple episodes ago when I was talking about increasing your sales. So I'm not going to go into it, but listen, most add-on items come at a higher margin. They come with additional profits. So if there's easy things for you to be able to toss onto your sales, just to throw in your cart, once again, just think Walmart, Target, all those things. When you go through the registers, the reason all the Coke, candy, and all the tchotchkes and everything else are at the register is because they're high margin goods. They know that we're going to throw in our cart and it's going to not only raise their average ticket, it's going to increase their profits right away. A lot of that stuff comes at 70, 80% margin. I want you to think about your business. What are some add-on items that you can start adding on tomorrow that are going to increase your profits just because you're throwing them on there? So yes, you're going to get more sales, but more importantly, you're going to also get more profit because, they just naturally have more profit. Now, this doesn't mean give people things that they don't need. It doesn't mean oversell people with what they don't need, but there's some easy things that actually complement stuff. There's a reason why every time a toy that needs batteries is sold, that you need to buy the batteries with it, because it also makes the customer happy at the end of the day. So you're able to make some margin, but at the same time is, you make your customers happy too. So think of some add-on items that they would really enjoy, and it's a win-win for everybody involved. And finally, I also talked about warranties in the last few episodes about how those can do it. Warranties are wonderful because if only 17, I forget what the actual number is, but it's somewhere like 17% or something like that, ever get used. 17% of the money that you take in through warranties ever get used. So if you've got some warranties that you can do for people, they're almost all margin, because if you never have to go out and you've collected $100 for some warranty, guess what? That's $100 of profit that you get not only now, but even if it's good for a year, if you never have to go out, you never tap into that margin. So in the end, if you get to keep 80% of what you charge for warranties, that's actually not a bad gig. Just make sure it's something that is legit, you are going to honor, and it is something that's right. right. Even if in some cases, let's just say you charge $100 and you're going to go out every 6 months to look at it. If you think about it, even your labor going out there, it might cost you $20 to go out and look at it. Let's say you do it twice, there's $40 out of that 100. You're still keeping 60%. It's a great item for you to add on. All right, listen, this episode has gone on longer than I wanted. I try to keep these things at 30 minutes or less. Hopefully, you know what? Hopefully you've gotten, once again, all I care about is that you get a nugget or two out of these 17 things that we talked about, and you can start adding more profits tomorrow. You don't have to do all 17. Just pick one or two that matter to you that you think you can get something. That's all we're going for today. We're going for a quick win on your profits to start getting a little bit more money behind you. Later, we're going to continue to dive into bigger ways to get some long-term profits and to make more money. But today we're just looking for that quick win. Pick something from that you heard about today that you can get a quick win. And even if it's just $20, $30, $100, you know what? That's $20, $30, $100 you didn't have yesterday. And in most cases, it's easy to do. Some of these you can put in a Band-Aid, where they're just quick ones for tomorrow, and some of them are long-term. Happy employees aren't going to become happy employees tomorrow, all right? But you can start that ball rolling today, and if you start that ball rolling, you're going to have a little bit of savings and profit today, but over time, as you continue to do it, guess what? Your profits are going to continue to go up because those employees are going to continue to be happier and more invested in everything else. So just run with it. I want you to try to get some profits, quick wins, and everything else. And before I go, one last thing, I am taking on a few more coaching folks. So if you are looking for a coach, don't forget that we can do some coaching services. We can do a one-time strategy session, or we can do several weeks of coaching. I do a first call is free. We just kind of talk, see if it's going to be a good fit for us. If you're interested, just go on over to localsmallbusinesscoach.com/workwithme to get more information. Or reach out to me at tammy@localsmallbusinesscoach.com. But with that, I am going to get out of here because I've been talking a lot. All right, I'm out of here. I will see you on the next episode. Oh, you know what? Oh, before you go, coming up, I definitely want to make sure that you subscribe, and here's why. We're going to talk about two things in the next couple of weeks. One is going to be a lot of you go into your slower time as we get into November, December. It could be because of rain, snow, whatever the case may be. It could be just your business is more of a spring, summer type of business. We're going to talk about how you can continue to make money in those slower times. So that is an annual thing we try to do. So that's coming up. And then also we have the end of the year coming up. Obviously, we're into the fourth quarter. And I want to talk about ending the year strong, but also getting ready for the next year, for 2019. So, or if you're listening to this in the future for the year coming up, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing. So make sure you hit subscribe, come back. We're going to spend some time on those topics because I want you to finish the year strong and really get a great kickoff to the new year. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on those topics in the next few weeks. All right. With that, I really mean it. I'm out of here. Bye for now. Hey, badass business owners, before you go, just one thing. If you ever feel like you're alone and you would love to be with a like-minded group of individuals, head on over to our Badass Local Small Business Owner Facebook page. We have no spamming, no advertising, anything like that. Just your questions, mine, and we just kind of help each other out, grow our businesses, and share knowledge. You can feel free to know that you're in a safe place and ask your questions of people that are actually going to care about you. So once again, head on over to Facebook. It's the Badass Local Small Business Owner page. You can also hit the show notes and it's right there. Once again, it's going to be stuff and people out there that care about you and helping you grow your business.